Manchester United are done. Finished. Over. Totally, genuinely abysmal. Infinitely useless. I cannot believe what we witnessed last night. I cannot believe the mediocrity that club is full of. And somehow we have been gaslit to believe that they are good. We've been gaslit to believe that their distinctly average footballers are somehow capable. Now look, I have realised now, I have had the epiphany moment, and I have deduced that Manchester United are finished. And now, I do concede, a lot of you have been there before me. A lot of you have arrived at this party far sooner than I have, because, incorrectly, I've always believed that Manchester United are Manchester United, that Manchester United are a force, that the term Manchester United can both inspire and terrify, that Manchester United as a club are therefore capable of anything. And my God, I was wrong. I was so wrong. I've been so wrong for so long and I didn't know it. Like, there is now a recalibration that is occurring within me. That club, they are nothing. They are nothing compared to their former glory. They are nothing compared to what they once represented. They are nothing in the spirit and in keeping of that club. That club, that proud crest, that incredible stadium, the Holy Trinity, standing outside the Manchester United Stadium. What that should all represent is no longer there in these players. It's not palpable. It's not relevant even. Like, Manchester United as a club stands proud. What they once represented stands proud. Who they are stands proud. The history of Bobby Charlton, in my opinion, the greatest sportsman to have ever lived. In my opinion, what he went through, what he has done for both his club and his country is incomparable to anyone else. The greatest sportsman from these shores, arguably the greatest sportsman of all time. That is a Manchester United icon. And then you come through the years. Cristiano Ronaldo won a Ballon d'Or there. Wayne Rooney, the greatest Premier League player of all time, arguably, played at that club. The spirit of 99, the class of 92, Roy Keane, David Beckham. It's unbelievable what that club once were. But I now need to recalibrate my mind and disassociate who they once were with what they are today. Because what they are today is a pitiful, shameful outfit who have let the traditions of the club down. They have let the thousands of Manchester United fans who travel to Bilbao down. They have let the millions of Manchester United fans worldwide down. And they're abject. And somehow, they have managed to position it that they're not. Somehow there has been this belief that they do have some good players, and Casemiro will never let us lose a European final. And Bruno Fernandes, my God, Fergie would have loved him. And we've all been gaslit to believe that it's true. Now look, I have an excuse. I grew up in the 90s. The reason why I feel this way about Manchester United is because through the 90s, they were the biggest and best team in the country. And on some level, I've been conditioned by those events. I've had a truth installed within me in my youth that I have found very difficult to shake. But there is a reset that is happening. And I do agree, for some of you, you got there earlier than me. I am late to this party. But we all have our line in the sand, I guess. Some of you, it may have come when Manchester City scored 6 at Old Trafford. For some of you, it may have come when Sir Alex Ferguson finished. For me, it came last night. Like, maybe it should have come sooner. Maybe it should have come when the noisy neighbours started overtaking Manchester United. But I just can't believe it. Like, that former proud and glorious club, what they once were, the unstoppable force that they were, the guarantee for silverware that they were, the guarantee for turning up in finals that they had, it's totally and utterly over. Manchester United, the club, I mean, they're best represented by one word, or they were best represented by one word. If you try and boil it down, what word represents Manchester United? I think that word is resilience. Through the years, think about the history of the club. Think about what the club have been through. Think about what the fans and the players have been through. And think about what they would always do. Always bounce back. Always stand strong. Always play with pride. And always give their fans something to sing about. Represent that badge on their heart perfectly. That is what they have done. I mean, it's just over. Like what Sir Alex Ferguson said about Tottenham. Once upon a time. You know all that? Lads, it's Tottenham. That is now more applicable to Manchester United than it is to Tottenham. Manchester United have achieved the impossible. They have become Tottenham. They have become Tottenham. They have become that team that people sneer at, people laugh at, people assume will lose finals. People are shocked when they get to finals. People normalise the mediocrity. So Manchester United, for example, have managed to accrue 9 points in the league since Christmas. 9 points. And somehow people are saying, Amorim, he's working his system. It's all happening. We normalise mediocrity to such a level of certain clubs that normal players become world class. Poor players become decent. And you look across this Manchester United team, and it's just unbelievable. I did have an epiphany moment last night. Primarily, I think the reason that I had this moment was because for the first time this season, first time maybe I can remember, I was supporting Manchester United. I was openly, desperately hoping for Manchester United to win. I was watching the game singing from the banks of the Urwell to Sicily, where we will fight for Man United FC. Like, that was me last night. I was embodying everything that I could about Manchester United. I was desperate for Manchester United to succeed. I was watching Bruno Fernandes and hoping that he would do something magical. I was hoping for the furtherance of Manchester United into the Champions League. My enemy's enemy had become my friend. And Manchester United, therefore, were my best friend on the night. And something strange happened. I watched Manchester United through a totally and utterly different lens. And you get a completely different insight. So, when the passing goes wrong, or the possession is totally given away, or there's abject performances left, right and centre, or timid tackling, or half-hearted play, lack of structure, lack of belief, lack of leadership. And that usually happens to Manchester United. I don't notice it as much, primarily because I'm enjoying it. Last night, I wasn't. Last night, I was thinking, right, come on, Casemiro. I keep hearing how good you are. I keep hearing how good you are in Europe. Casemiro's going to take the game by the scruff of the neck in a minute. And he didn't. He was abysmal. Bruno Fernandes. He's a world-class player. Adam McCullough, my dear friend, has told me time and time again, Sir Alex would love Bruno. He would love Bruno. He would have sold Bruno. He wouldn't have. In fact, he would have never signed Bruno in the first place. It's a travesty that a great club full of icons in their past are now having Bruno Fernandes as their pin-up boy, their poster boy, their the public face of the club, Bruno Fernandes. My God, it was a pitiful performance from him. And he's one of the better players. Luke Shaw. Why are we constantly believing that Luke Shaw's a good footballer? What sort of an attempt was that to stop Brennan Johnson scoring that goal? He did absolutely nothing. He did his best to make sure, Brennan Johnson made a pig's ear of it, and Luke Shaw helped him out. Brennan Johnson made a pig's ear of it, and Andre Onana helped him out. None of them did anything to make sure that ball didn't end up in the back of the net. And I just cannot understand that it's come to this. Onana, another calamity. Mason Mount, flat, invisible, uninspired. Off the back of him scoring 2 goals in a European semi-final at Old Trafford, I saw a glimpse of Mason Mount, particularly that first goal when he turned in the box. I thought, I've seen it all before with Mount. I know he's a good player. I know he was a good player. And I thought, I wonder if that's going to be the moment. I was so dumb to potentially believe that a Manchester United player could somehow rise from the ashes, could somehow redefine their career. Absolutely not. It's done. It's over. Casemiro, he won't let us down in a European game. Pedestrian. And Rasmus Højlund, I put a tweet out about Højlund, and this, I think, is indicative of what's going on with Manchester United fans. I'd say 80% of people that have interacted with the tweet, and the tweet's got a lot of traction, right? I'll tell you exact number. So it's been seen by 350,000 people, this tweet. And in this tweet, I criticise Rasmus Højlund aggressively. I'm correct, by the way, totally aggressively. I think we need to stop feeling sorry for footballers, talking about footballers' feelings. I'm allowed to criticise Rasmus Højlund. But 20% of people are telling me he's good and it's a system problem, or he's good, but he hasn't got the support. And 20% and 10% of that 20% are telling me, you shouldn't talk about footballers like this. It's unjust of you to talk about footballers. Shut up. You're allowed to criticise footballers. Geezer earns an absolute fortune, leads a life for Manchester United, and is an abject failure at his job. I was watching him play last night. He's an abject failure at his job. And this is what I put on Twitter. I said, Rasmus Højlund is literally one of the worst footballers that I've ever seen. Not worst Manchester United player. Not the worst centre-forward. I mean, literally the worst footballer that I have ever seen. And it's a disrespect to the history of that once great club that he gets to represent them. And I stand by every word of that. He is a total and utter embarrassment. He should hang his head in shame. He's one of the worst centre-forwards that I have ever seen. I'm not joking. Chelsea's standards are in the mud. And I've got a terrible feeling that we're moving in the direction that they've moved in. The reset, the recalibration may occur in my team, which I'm really worried about. We've got 2 massive games coming up. But our players are generally useless, right? Generally. I think we desperately need a new centre forward. I think Nicholas Jackson, poxy footballer, he'd be the best player in their team. That's how bad it's got for Manchester United. Nicholas Jackson, the movement that he would bring, the way that you'd bring others into play, the intelligence of his run. Like, Rasmus Højlund was caught offside in about 30 seconds of the game. His team hadn't touched the ball and he's offside. You know, like, what are you doing? Like, what are you doing? Do you know the rules of the game, you moron? And it was so frustrating to me because I desperately wanted him to win. I honestly can't believe it. And this is why it means so much, because I needed Tottenham to get beat. I desperately needed Tottenham to get beat. Like, this is one of the worst, top 5 worst things that has ever happened to me in my football fandom. Genuinely. I made a list on Twitter where I spoke about the worst things that have ever happened to me in a football stadium. And number 1 was Anfield, Luis Garcia, 2005. Number 2 was Moscow, 2008. Number 3 was Barcelona, Stamford Bridge, 2009. It's a disgrace, all that. Number 4 was what Ray Parlour and Freddie Ljungberg did to us in Cardiff. That really hurt me, man. That team, that Jimmy Floyd Hasselbank, Heidegger Johnson team, they deserved the trophy. And the 5th worst thing that has ever happened to me in a football-related conversation was Tottenham winning. Do you see why I'm so angry with Rasmus Højlund? Do you see why I think Ruben Amorim is a complete chancer? And the fact that he is talking now about leaving Manchester United without taking any compensation is something that they should take him up on. You know, and do you know what I'm most angry about? I'm angry with myself. Because I think the one thing that I do well when I talk about football is I'm true to myself. If I get it wrong, I'm true to myself. If people disagree with me, they can even concede that I am at least true to myself. The reason I get it wrong is because I try, I say it the way that I say it, and occasionally I get it wrong, and occasionally I get it right, and I'm sure you're saying now more occasionally than not I get it wrong. But equally, I said Graham Potter would fail at West Ham, and so far I've been proved correct on that. I've said that X, Y, and Z will happen. I said Aston Villa will get into the Champions League last year. People don't TikTok the good stuff. Equally, I said Erling Haaland would flop in this country, and he broke all sorts of records and won a treble. But I say it the way I feel about it. And I knew that these Manchester United players were useless. And I knew that Ruben Amorim was getting it wrong. And I've allowed it to sort of manifest into this thing. Like when I do the club with Adam, he'll go, when we do our predictions, he'll go, Manchester United are going to win the league, 21 is coming. We shouldn't allow that because it's utter drivel. It's not allowed. In the fact, when we do our predictions next season, that just can't happen. And he tells me that, Højlund can do this and Joshua Zirkzee can do that. They're useless. They're useless. And I need to call it out. And do you know what? When I'm next on the overlap, I'm going to do it there. Paul Scholes, I'm going to tell him. I'm going to say to Paul Scholes, there isn't one player in that current Manchester United team that you would let in the door at Old Trafford when you were playing. When Manchester United had standards, Bruno Fernandes would have been kicked out the back door. He wouldn't have got through. None of them. Literally none of them. Rasmus Højlund, it would have been laughed at. And the standards have just sunk so low. And I blame Adam McCullough. I've allowed our friendship to intrude upon my opinion. Because watching them last night through that lens, the lens of wanting them to win, it was unbelievable. And he tells me about Ruben Amorim, and he had me singing that Ruben Amorim song to that brilliant old song. I forget her name now, not Belinda Carlisle, I forget. But he had me singing that. Ruben Amorim is done. Ruben Amorim needs to be sacked. He wants out. He doesn't even want the compensation. And I don't know what we're doing here. Eric Ten Hag won trophy after trophy at that club and got sacked and laughed at. And somehow he became the fool guy when he got them to the Champions League and won the FA Cup and the League Cup. And he's the laughing stock. Like, Amorim has come in. He's one of the worst managers in Premier League history. And somehow that is Ten Hag's fault still. It's mental. It's mental. But that club, they're done. Time to, honestly, whenever Manchester United usually play, when Man United play Wolves, I'll go, United will beat them. Because it's in my brain, man. United will beat them. Who do you think will qualify for the top 4 next year, Raw? Man United. Because it's in my brain. Man United will do it. No more. No more. This is the line in the sand. This is the moment. This is the epiphany. Over. They have let me down to a level that I can't believe. I'm watching them, supporting them. Oh my God. I suddenly realised how good Nicholas Jackson is. I suddenly realised how good Noni Madueke is. Fucking a bit. Oh God. Bloody hell. This is going to be a terrible, terrible day. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. I just can't cope.